Hello, and welcome to Sutro Sidetalk, episode 153. I am your host, Kamran Shushtar, and with me is...
James Seelig.
Dude, this week is the fucking E3 week. We have got all the crazy news, all the gaming news, Netflix news for some reason. It's not like movie and television news. It's just Netflix news. And it's, been an interesting, what would you say, 3-4 years now of summers where it's either E3 or the lack thereof E3 causing some interesting, I guess, void fillers to come in and put their content on. And
it's so interesting because we started this show back when E3 was still going on. So we did experience covering an actual E3 week, like at least once.
I think it was twice.
And then and then it just got real weird from there. And like the last couple of years have just been like a free-for-all for like everyone's doing a show.
Yeah,
and it is
exhausting. It was actually our show pretty much started with E3 for the most part. Like, and it was like, I think after episode 2 we're like, all right, E3 specials for everybody. And we were talking, it was when Forsaken came out, or when they revealed Forsaken for Destiny.
Oh, you're right.
Yeah, and that's why the second one,
so long ago,
we got Shadowkeep in the second one, and then Beyond Light came out while we've been in quarantine and everything else. So it's been really interesting just kind of seeing it all kind of play out. And we've seen, like, it started off with, okay, no E3 because it was all physical, and everyone's like, oh my god, what's gonna happen now? And Jeff Keighley's like, listen, guys, I've got Summer Game Fest. And everyone's like, oh my God. And then IGN's like, listen, we have Summer of Gaming. It's going to be like 2 months long. And you're like, no, what do you mean 2 months long? And it led...
We mean literally a whole summer of gaming.
Yeah, I actually never want an entire summer of gaming ever again. It was for sure the most just tiresome I've ever felt just listening to gaming news. I've never been just so kind of fatigued by it before. And, they listened for the most part. And then last year they came back and they made it more compact. It was still a lot because it was more compact for the most part. But all of a sudden they're like, hey, we have all these different showcases still. And a lot of them are pretty much all still here. And so, this year we've come back and they made sure to put it all in 1 week, just one single week for the most part. And it's still a lot, of course. So we're splitting this into 2 parts, and we're not actually recording part 2 right now. We're going to record that. We're like, today is Sunday, the 12th of June. We're going to put this out tomorrow on the 13th on Monday. On Tuesday, the 14th, we're going to record part 2. And we'll put that out on Wednesday. But that's not all, of course. It's going to be kind of a crazy rest of the month. Like, actually, June's already kind of been a hell month. But I guess 6/6, so, the 6s of June.
Yeah.
But I'm going to be gone to Denver for like 5 days. And then I'm going apparently to fucking Disneyland and shit for like a week. Or going to LA for the most part for a week. Like less than a week after, or about like literally 1 week after. I think that's like less than a week. But so I'll be gone, and we're gonna pre-record episode 154 as well, which will just be kind of featuring the Bob's Burgers movie, and then other backlog stuff we've got to cover that we want to get through. So that's gonna be nice to just kind of hop through that. That'll actually be recorded right after this, and then we'll put that out next Monday. So that'll be like whatever, I don't remember what the day is for that day. I think it's the 20th. Yeah, so that'll go out on the 20th. I'll have that pre-edited and everything else. And of course, this is Sutro Sidetalk. We talk what we've been playing, what we've been watching, and just to kind of give you guys a list of everything we're going to be covering today. We got multiple showcases, and we're going to kind of tackle them in this order. And just a heads up, of course, for part 1 and part 2 of 153, it's all news. There is no like what we've been playing and watching. All that's going to be in 154, which normally we don't have like entire news episodes or episodes focused on news. It's usually because it's like, it's this week, or PlayStation has their showcase, or Xbox bought Bethesda, or like a PlayStation bought Insomniac or Bungie. And I don't know, Disney does their fucking insane Disney Plus day or some shit. Like it's usually that kind of stuff that makes us do that. But I think this is the only one, at least for the next couple months or so. Otherwise, what we're covering in part 1 is going to be Netflix Geeked Week, Summer Game Fest, Day of the Devs, the Devolver Digital Showcase or Devolver Direct. We're also covering IGN Expo, the Guerrilla Collective 3.0, Wholesome Direct. What was the next one? Tribeca Games Spotlight, Future Games Show, and I believe that's everything for part 1. There's some we're not covering at all. Just we went through them, tried to see if there was anything, didn't really get much. Some of these will be much shorter than others. Some I have actually nothing in. It might just be actually James with like 1 or 2 games, or vice versa. He might not have anything and I might have like 1 or 2. But others will be much more filled. But we're going to go through all of those. And needless to say, we pretty much eliminate, like we're not going through every single game in all these showcases. We pretty much like eliminated to just what we really want to talk about and potentially even play, that we'd actually like fork down and buy these. Many of them we're actually already putting on our Steam wish lists and whatnot. It's going to be pretty much interesting. And some of these games, of course, are in multiple showcases. So when we talk about them the first time, that's pretty much like kind of combining every single time we saw them in the other places and just putting them all into one and just eliminating them so we don't talk about them in the next showcase that we're like moving on to. Otherwise, for part 2, it's going to be a lot less numbers of showcases, but I guess not necessarily bigger, but it's just enough. For sure, it'll be Xbox Bethesda, their showcase, then their extended showcase that's actually on Tuesday, which is why we're
gonna
be.
I can't believe they have like supposedly 3 hours total of stuff to talk about over like this week.
Yeah. And it was an hour and a half for this one. It was already a trudge.
That's the thing. Like, and we'll get to it when we get to that show, but I was not super impressed for most of it.
Just to say it, like it went from, oh, I'm anticipating this as the biggest thing of this like week to,
yeah, dude, I was so excited.
Whatever. Okay, that was.
I was on my phone most of the time, just going like.
I was legitimately falling asleep at 2 or 3 points. I was like dozing off. But we'll have that, the extended part of that, the Capcom showcase, PC gaming show, and possibly Guerrilla Collective 3.5 if we find anything there that we want to talk about. But we'll have those. Potentially, it could be some of the ones that we're supposed to talk to you for part 1. We're trying to put like a 2-hour cap on part 1, so we don't go overboard. So if there is like it would potentially be like Future Games Show and maybe the Tribeca Spotlight that get pushed, but odds are I don't think it'll come to that. I think we could fit this all in one episode.
We'll see. Like, it seems like the things that we were talking about before the show that were on my list that aren't on yours, I could probably take just like 2 seconds for most of them.
Yeah.
And like I definitely have more Guerrilla Collective stuff than you, but all of them could be probably less than 5 minutes.
Yeah, and I think the climbs will be Netflix Geeked Week and Summer Game Fest. After that, it'll be kind of like you get up the hill and then now you're going just down the hill with the rest. So
yeah,
it shouldn't be too bad. But yeah, I guess without further ado, let's just hit right into it. And then, if we have time after, we'll talk a little bit, just, everything else coming and whatnot. But let's kick it right off with the Netflix Geeked Week. So Geeked Week was, it started last year where Netflix did like, here's reveals of all our shit coming that's all geeky and shit that we want to keep you guys subscribing for us and whatnot. And this year they categorized it for all 5 days. Day 1 is live action series. Day 2 is film. Day 3 is animated shows. Day 4 is Stranger Things, Hellfire Club. We skipped that completely.
Yeah, that was so weird because I was like, well, it's kind of cool that they actually were able to find like things to talk about for like a whole week, and then like get 2 of the days are just like one thing each, and it's just like, oh, not maybe not.
No, it's funny. A lot of the shows they announced last year didn't even show up this one for like a lot of the game properties too.
Weird.
If you notice, like Splinter Cell, Far Cry, Blood Dragon, a bunch of other stuff like that.
Oh yeah, huh?
Yeah, there was a bunch. But yeah, so day 5 was games, which was a combo of mobile games that are on Netflix, and then of course shows based off of games, which it's funny. It's like games based off shows that they have, and then shows based off games that they know about or whatever. But yeah, so we'll be covering days 1 through 3 and 5. But starting off with day 1 was the series. And the ones that were of interest starting off was Guillermo del Toro's Cabinet of Curiosity. Now, this is like an anthology, I believe, like an 8-episode anthology series. Each episode is directed by a different person from various movies, from like Babadook, I think they said fucking Twilight, among a bunch of others. Yeah, but they're like all these different directors that might do horror and other things. And it's full anthology. Each one will be completely different than the other. And, you know, the cast will be completely different. Everything about it's going to be completely different, but it's all under like Guillermo del Toro's idea of like, yo, let's do horror. And one thing that kept Guillermo del Toro is honestly probably, I'm pretty sure he's in my top 5 favorite directors, I would probably say.
Yeah. He's one of the directors where like, if I hear he's got a new project coming, I am immediately excited.
Yeah, it's like I just haven't watched his newest movie. I just remembered I still have to watch that.
Even like The Shape of Water. I'm not usually into romance movies, but that one I was like, damn, this one got me.
Yeah, I'm like, shit, you know, I never actually thought I'd enjoy watching a movie where you fuck the fish, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's weird, dude.
You can get it, Abe Sapien.
God, oh, it really was just like, yo, what the Abe Sapien had sex with woman.
That's how I learned English.
Yeah, but Cabinet of Curiosities look really cool. I'm pumped for it. I don't think they they said it's coming this year. They didn't say when, but it'll come this year. Okay. I'm assuming, if I could give a guess, October. Just a guess there. It would make the most sense.
I could see that.
That or November. I think it's one of those 2 months, because if they didn't give it already like a release date that's like a month or day yet, I would see it towards the end there.
Yeah.
In the fall area. The Midnight Club, which is coming October 7th, 2022. This is from Mike Flanagan, who has done, I believe, The Haunting of Hill House and Midnight Mass, which
I really liked both of those.
And I've only seen Haunting of Hill House, but I really enjoyed it a lot. I have purposefully not watched Midnight Mass just because I'm honestly planning on, if I ran out of everything I want to watch on Netflix, I'd probably watch all the horror shit, but I'm legitimately going to probably do like an entire insane horror binge. Like at the end of, I want to say honestly, starting in September, I might just do like a 2-month Halloween insanity time. Just because I know there was like a weird campaign that started last year. I think that someone's like, make Halloween 2 months now, started in September. And I'm like, yeah, fuck it, make things orange in September. Pumpkins for everybody. Let's get those pumpkin lattes, everybody. Oh boy, like let's do it. Yeah, forget I said that.
Somehow have Halloween last until like Thanksgiving, and it's just like they're Halloween pumpkins until Thanksgiving.
It's the show's based off of a book that people like a lot. I already forgot who the author was. I had it in my head. Like I watched the video again just to remember, and I'm like, cool. And then I forgot again. I'm like, I don't remember who the author is. But from what I've heard, it's supposed to be a really good book, and looks like it's like interesting. It looks like adult Are You Afraid of the Dark, where they tell all the scary stories and like a thing like that. So that's what I'm thinking it's going to be like. I could be completely wrong.
Club, but like it seems like just a bunch of teens in that show or in that trailer though.
Yeah, but I'm wondering if they tell stories or something. Like maybe they're the ones that tell the shit. I don't know.
Maybe.
Either way, I still have to watch Midnight Mass anyway. It doesn't really matter too much. There were 4 comic book shows that were like either returning or announced, or in terms of like showing stuff, which was Lock and Key's 3rd season, Sweet Tooth's 2nd season, Umbrella Academy's 3rd season, and then the Sandman is finally coming. Now I've been interested in watching all of these. I haven't watched any, but that's only because I do want to wait to watch or like actually read the comics, just because I do read comics a lot, but those are like series I never got into, and there's so many movies and things now. I kind of want to make it my business of go back, and anything that's like now, whether it's like even fucking Red, The Losers, and of course like The Boys, Invincible, I want to go back and like read all the books and then like watch some of those movies again and see how they are. But I think I'm only making an exception for The Boys and Invincible right now because they're just so fucking good. I'm like, oh, you know, I'll read them later. But the others, I'm like, you know, I'll just wait. I'll read them and then I'll come back and check these out. But that's just me. Did you have anything on those or move ahead?
Nah, you can move ahead.
Cool. Alice in Borderland season 2. So this was interesting just because it's like a weird like Japanese game show thing where it's like, oh, what if you did stuff in real life and you could potentially die, but you win stuff like you would, I guess, in a video game, kind of.
Yeah, I guess I'd have to watch season 1 to get the like how it works. Like the trailer looked interesting, but I was just really confused about a few
Oh yeah,
things.
I think they pretty much are showing it like you have already watched the first season, so
Yeah.
you understand what's going on. I do want to check out the first season now, though, seeing this, because I had no idea the show existed until seeing the season 2 trailer.
Yeah, I vaguely remember seeing the trailer for the first season a while ago and thinking like that looks interesting, and then just like forgetting about it.
Yeah, so we'll see how this one goes. One Piece. We got to see some of the production for it, and it looked really cool. We saw casting for people like was it Mihawk?
The casting, the casting looks spot on for
yeah,
like
they did a
lot
really
of
good
characters.
job. I like it a lot. I don't think you get the full crew yet because I believe this first season covers like the East Blue story, and
Yeah,
I
I
know
saw
like
they
I
cast
think like
Arlong, and I was like, well, they're getting that far.
yeah, it's supposed to be like the entire season is gonna be the entirety of the East Blue story, and then I think because of that, you're missing like probably 3 or 4. I think 3 of the
I
crewmates.
guess
You won't get them until
you
later.
wouldn't. Yeah, you wouldn't get Chopper. You wouldn't get Frankie.
You wouldn't get Robin.
Yeah.
And you wouldn't get Skeleton Guy.
Yeah, I forget his name.
Yeah, I think I forget what they said when this is coming, but I think it's August. No, there's an animated movie coming in August or something like that. I think.
Yeah.
August or September. But I started watching One Piece. I was watching it with one of my friends from that I play Destiny with, and we don't talk about it that much. Like she never actively goes like, oh, let's go watch this, and I'm always like busy, so I don't think about it. So I'm like, you know what? After I finish catching up on Gundam and JoJo, I'm just gonna go through the rest of One Piece. I'm on like episode 30 something out of what, over 1,000. Shouldn't be too bad. I think I could do it. It'll be fine. But
got
otherwise,
time to catch up. They're on a hiatus until
yeah,
like for like a month or something like that until the next arc starts up.
perfect. But I guess the thing was that we saw the production design of it, all the ships like being built and everything. It looked really fucking good.
It looks like they're putting a lot of effort into it.
The going there, he looked kind of creepy with the goat. It looked just kind of too real of a head.
Yeah,
It's kind of weird, but
it's one of those things where it's like on a flat paper it looks good or just like funny or cute, but in real life it's just like, oh no, that looks weird.
Yeah, very much so. And then Resident Evil, which comes July 14th. That's the one where Lance Reddick is Wesker.
Yeah. So after hearing all of that stuff and being very confused by like the Wesker family drama stuff that it seems like they're focusing on, this trailer actually got me hyped.
Yeah,
I'm like, it actually looks a lot cooler than I was expecting.
the liquor actually looks really good in this.
Yeah.
I thought I really liked the design for it. You got the fucking dogs.
Yeah, the only like monster design that doesn't look super great so far is the tyrant. But that's just because like maybe what we saw was like the tyrant in its like early stages of mutation, and it doesn't have like the crazy giant like fucking mutated arm with like the heart outside its chest yet or anything.
Yeah, and this is
kind of just
this is separate from everything else, right? It's just its own thing.
Yeah, I don't think it's connected to any of the movies or even the new movie that came out recently. I'm pretty sure this is his own thing.
Okay. 1889. So this show I'm excited about, which
that was probably my number one thing on the whole list that you sent me, because I saw this trailer and I was just like, you what?
I feel shallow about it because I haven't watched Dark yet. It's from the creators of Dark, and this looked really good. And I've heard so many good things about Dark, and Dark is supposed to be like
Dark is literally one of the coolest shows I've seen in a long time. That like it made me like think really hard about like physics questions and shit that, and like the whole like you might hate it because a lot of it has to do with like time loop stuff. But,
fuck!
But it's not like constant traveling through time. It's like the rules for that show for like how the time like shit works
Mhm.
is very well defined, and what is so interesting about it is that it kind of like all hinges upon like um oh god, not anomalies, what's the word I'm looking for, um shit that should be impossible.
Oh, I don't know. I'm
Oh
not a science
god,
man.
I hate when I like I'm there's like a specific word that,
Of science that you know, and you're just like, I don't know what it is. I can't
yeah,
remember it. Oh well.
um
I just know Dark is basically. I've heard it. They're like, yeah, it's German Stranger Things, and I'm like, oh, cool. I want to watch German
yeah,
Stranger Things. So, 1889 looks interesting. It's isn't it like a ship. They're on a ship.
paradox, I'm sorry,
Oh,
it
okay,
all hinges on paradoxes.
gotcha. Yeah,
Yeah.
so 1889 is like on a ship. It looks like, and it's like all these different people that are going to a new place, and they're from
Yeah,
around the
and I
world.
liked the narration talking about like, everyone just sees the world as they want to see it, but like you could see everything if you just shift your perspective. And it's like I want to, because it looks like they're definitely gonna, like in Dark, lean into like supernatural, paranormal stuff like that. So I definitely want to see more. I am crazy hyped for this.
Okay. And then yeah, that's it for the series. The next up was the movies, which the first one was probably one of my favorite things from Netflix this time, which was Troll. And the reason I got
Yeah,
excited for that is because of the Norwegian film that's like a mockumentary, Troll Hunter, where these people do like like a fake documentary about like, oh, we're fine in Norway. There's actually people that hunt trolls, but also trolls are like a part of the ecosystem, and they're usually fine, but there's like a rabies outbreak for some
yeah,
of them, and they're
like it essentially follows like Animal Control but for trolls.
yeah, it's fucking awesome. It's such a good monster movie and also great just troll. It's so fucking good.
Like I
And
love
they're
they even
making
try to explain scientifically like why trolls turn to like stone
yeah,
in the
and there's
sunlight.
different species of trolls. It's so
Yeah.
it's a movie where it made me want so much more from it. And this is a movie that's looks like a movie. It's not a documentary style. It's just a Norwegian movie that has a giant troll that I've heard. I think if I heard correctly, it's a giant troll that wakes up and is basically heading to Oslo, which is, the capital of Norway,
Yeah,
and is planning on just like, yeah,
you described it to me as like a kaiju movie but with like just a troll, and I was like, that makes so much sense. I can't believe that hasn't already been a thing.
yeah. You always think like Godzilla woke up and he's going to destroy Tokyo, and it's like, what would happen if it was like in Scandinavia? A troll woke up and he's going to destroy Oslo.
Yeah.
It's like, oh shit, that sounds dope as
It's like,
fuck.
oh shit, there was a troll sleeping under that mountain.
It's crazy. I'm really pumped for this. But next was date, and there's no release date, but so I'm like, oh fuck, when is this gonna happen? Next though is Day Shift, which comes out August 12th of this year, starring Jamie
Yeah,
Foxx, and it's like these
as like a
people that
vampire hunter
yeah, they hunt
who,
vampires during the day when they're like supposed to be asleep and shit.
yeah, it looks interesting.
Yeah.
Like it looks like it could be funny because like Jamie Foxx definitely seemed to be like having fun with like introducing it, and something about the concept of being paid for like vampire kills by turning in their fangs that you steal is like, it seems like they can make a like a comedy about it of just like, oh, it's really good money to hunt vampires. So people just like get into it just for the money, and it's not like a higher cause or anything. If that's the tone they go for, like I could definitely watch that because that sounds like a super funny take on vampire hunting.
Very much so. So I'm excited for it. Then was Blasted, that comes out this month, June 28th. And it's like crazy. It's just guys that go out for laser tag, and they somehow like go into like a whole thing of aliens are invading, and they
Yeah.
use their guns, their laser
Yeah,
guns to kill the
somehow their laser tag guns actually killed the aliens. And I'm just like, that's a weird concept, but I'm interested.
yeah. And I think it's just be like for a bachelor party. And it
Well, that
just
was like
seems like a
it's
fun time where you're like, oh,
oh
you want to watch a
yeah,
movie about
huh.
dudes just killing aliens with laser guns? Yeah, that sounds pretty fun.
Yeah.
Fuck it, yeah. So that could be cool. A little summer flick, really. Uh, and then Spiderhead, which comes out much closer in like this week, June 17th, starring Chris
Yeah, I
Hemsworth.
was seeing trailers for it before Geek Week even started. It looks interesting.
Yeah, it's got Chris Hemsworth, Miles Teller, and it's like a weird like I don't even know how to. It's like
It looks like,
experimentation of like a
yeah, like
social experiment.
Yeah, like prisoners are allowed time off their sentence if they, I guess, sign up for like drug trials and stuff. But it also
Yeah.
looks like there's something sinister going on in the background. So
Oh yeah.
it's one of those things where like it looks interesting enough that I might watch just to see what's the hook at the end
I
of
mean,
it, I
if the
guess.
movie's called Spiderhead, you gotta
And
know
that's
something
the
is
other
probably
thing. I'm
up.
just like, why is it called that?
Yeah, that's kind of creepy. So we'll see how that goes. Then they had like a little like message from Zack Snyder being like, Rebel Moon is in the middle of production. It's like, oh, cool, like excellent. Looking forward to that.
More pictures, please? No.
Yeah, and they didn't give a shit. It's funny too because the people mentioned like, oh yeah, his Army of the Dead anime and also that the God movie he's doing or the God anime he was doing. I forget which gods it was about, but they're like, you'll hear about them more later on in Geek Week or something, and we never hear about them at all the rest of Geek Week. And I was like, okay, well, all right. I guess we're not getting any of that then. Because if I remember last year we got, they're like, hey, Army of the Dead's out now. And also Army of the Thieves is coming. And then they announced like the anime. They announced they were talking a little bit about Rebel Moon. They were talking about the other anime he was working on. So it's just one of the other things they never came back to when they told us about all this stuff. They didn't like. It's weird when you announce something and don't show it the next year. It's like, why didn't
Yeah.
you should have waited to announce it then if you don't have anything to show the following year. But we'll talk about that more during the Xbox showcase. It'll be great.
Yeah.
Last thing was The Gray Man, which comes out July 22nd. It's got Ryan Gosling, Chris Evans, and Anna de Armas. Holy shit,
Yeah.
I'll never forget that name.
And like all of those are actors I like, and it looks like it could be cool. It's just the entire time I was watching the trailer, I was just like, this looks like generic action hero movie, and I could maybe skip this one.
Yeah,
But that's just me.
I'm giving it a chance only because it's directed by the Russo brothers and also the cast.
Yeah, that's it.
So
Yeah, that's the thing. I really do like all of those actors.
yeah, but we'll see. I could tell like these guys are, it feels like they're coming off of like all these fucking Marvel movies, and I bet the last one where they felt like this is a Russo brothers movie was like Winter Soldier. So this is like probably their first time being like, yes, finally we can do shit again. Without like Disney being like, are you doing it correctly? Are you sticking to our style that we want you to do? Because you know how they are. So that's how they talk, dude. That's actually how Disney talks. FYI. Animation. So we got Masters of the Universe Revolution, which is a sequel series to Revelation, which I actually still have to watch. I completely just never watched it.
I got really hyped by that first trailer, and it came out, and I was like, cool, I'm busy right now. I'll get to it later. And again, just never did.
And I got spoiled for it a little bit. Like they tell you exactly what happens, and you're just kind of like, what the fuck is this show? And I still have to watch it, and I still want to watch like I don't know, I want to watch like the essential episodes of the old show, just like not the entire series, just be like, oh, these are the 12 episodes you should have seen, and be like, cool, now I can go watch this show. I'll do it soon enough eventually. Yeah, do something, it'll be fine. Dragon Prince Mystery of Aravos. This is it's season 4, but it's not like it's a sequel series kind of, but it's season 4. It's basically season 4.
Yeah, and basically it's just like Aravos is that guy, like the dark elf looking dude that they had in that trailer.
And he was tricking, I'm pretty sure he's the guy that's been tricking what's his face, that sort of the human sorcerer the whole time.
Yeah, they've been hinting at him being like very important and very dangerous for like at least a whole season. And
I mean, the way he's been built up, I feel like he might be like either seasonal villain or he could be like series villain. I could be wrong. I don't know.
He could easily be the series villain. I could see that.
Yeah,
like there's just something very creepy about how like quiet he is, and he definitely seems like he knows so much more than he's like letting off, I guess. And I really like the Dragon Prince show. Like I was saying before we started recording, like I know it's made by the same people that did Avatar, so like that's why it feels so similar. But like I love the Avatar series and this show has like the same feel to it. So I am very much enjoying it, and will take all I can get out of it. So yeah, very excited for the next season.
Then we got Enter Galactic, which comes out this fall, and it's I think from Kid Cudi, if I
Yeah,
read
we
it
didn't
correctly.
see much other than like just kind of what the art style is going to look like, in that it's very music oriented and it sounds super cool.
Yeah, and I like it's got a pretty big list of stars that are going to be in it
Hmm.
voicing. So I'm excited to see more of it. And honestly, the art style looked really cool.
Yeah.
Like it was very, it's just one of those things where you see it and you're like, that's really cool. And you're like, what's it about?
Yeah, that was my only problem, is like there was a lot of trailers we saw this weekend for that, just like they don't tell you what it's about, so it's hard for me to get like really interested, other than like that looked cool.
Yeah. It's at least like, you got my attention. Now just tell me what the
Yeah.
plot is, and then I'm there. But if it's coming out in fall, like it seems like something I'll watch. I don't know if it'll be day one, but I think I'll watch either way for
Yeah.
sure. Then we had a image for Skull Island anime that they're making, and it's just two guys in a giant footprint on the beach, and I'm like, that picture doesn't even look that good.
Yeah,
I
I
was,
looked it up and I was like, that's it.
yeah, I was like, all
Okay.
right, that's fucking the talk. That's actually the definition of monkeying around, I guess. I don't fucking know, dude. More importantly, a Junji Ito series is coming to Netflix.
Yeah.
That's going to be animated, or like pretty much animated, it looks like. Japanese, so it's called Junji Ito Maniac, Japanese Tales of the Macabre. Macabre, is that how you
Macabre.
say it? Macabre. Uh, and it's going to have multiple books he's done. They'll be animated. Three that he's said will be in there will be Tomi, Sochi, and Hanging Blimp are confirmed, and it's coming next year.
Hanging balloons, I think.
Hanging Balloons? Okay. Why did they
Yeah.
put that in the translation? They might have mistranslated it.
Yeah. I mean, the balloons were pretty big in that comic. I'll give it that. But
Okay.
yeah, dude, like if anyone listening to this has never heard of Junji Ito, he is literally, in my opinion, the best horror manga artist I have ever seen. Like his shit is legitimately unsettling to like a disturbing degree. So like when he was just talking like a normal ass person on the Netflix segment, I was just like, yo, he's just a normal dude. How does he do such like demented shit?
Yeah, it's one of those
So
things, and I haven't really read any of his stuff, and I really want to. It's like something, but it's also one of those things where I don't read manga, which is
yeah.
part of the issue. And I'm like, okay, when I do, I'll probably just be reading him, because otherwise, like, there's only like two other things of manga that I actually want to read. Otherwise, I'm just like, I'll watch the anime. I don't have time for this. I can't even keep up with fucking
Yeah.
American comics or novels in general right now, so it's hard enough.
Yeah, it's unfortunate because like they've done animated Junji Ito tales before, but they weren't like
That's what other people
as
have told me.
grotesque.
Everyone tells me they're not that good. Like
Yeah,
they
they were like
weren't
fine,
they
but they
didn't do the
weren't.
manga justice, I guess I've heard.
Yeah, I'd
Yeah.
agree.
Okay. And the last thing for animation was, or kind of animation, Cyberpunk Edge Runners, which is being adapted by Trigger, which is the team that did Kill la Kill.
Yeah, it
And
looks
it's
super
coming,
interesting.
yeah, it's coming September of this year. And it looks like it's following like two or three different characters. And I think it focuses on one of the gangs that are in the
Mm.
game. It just reminds me like, oh yeah, I should play this game eventually that I have. But then
Yeah, I feel
before
like
I do that,
Night City and Cyberpunk is like a great setting for an anime.
yeah, there's so much to play, man. And then finishing
I
off,
literally just bought it last night, Cyberpunk, because it was like half off on Steam. And I'm like, cool, I can play it on my PC.
what's funny is it's in the animation section, and right after that is day 5 was gaming, which briefly, really fast, they showed a lot of mobile games based off their shows and properties, even fucking Queen's Gambit, which I was laughing at a
Yeah,
lot.
that I was like, wait, but that it's literally chess.
Yeah, they
Like,
somehow
what?
made I don't even know, but not there are all these mobile games. I had zero interest in them, so I had nothing to talk about there, and I assumed that
Yeah,
was
I
the same for
skipped
you.
that day.
Yeah. Otherwise, we had 5 animes that are basically based off of existing games. The first of which is Dragon Age, which I was actually kind of surprised about. Dragon Age Absolution, they didn't really give us anything on it that it's besides coming in December of this year. And I guess it's one thing that you can do to hold off your potential appetite if you still want BioWare games.
Yeah.
So it's coming, and then eventually we'll get Dragon Age. I'm assuming Dragon Age 4 is coming next year, maybe, if they're not in more chaotic
Okay.
potential that I think.
No, EA's not doing an EA play this year. I forgot it. Yeah.
Yeah, they skipped this year. We still, oh god, we're later on this year. I'm probably sure we'll have PlayStation and Ubisoft to talk about. Those will be the two. Oh god,
Is it not
Ubisoft.
nuts that I know again we're gonna get to it when we get to Xbox on Tuesday, but I literally was more hyped about that like PlayStation Direct or State
The
of
state of
Play
play
the
that's
other
not
day.
even like they made sure to not even hype it. They were like, it's gonna have VR and some random stuff, and you're like, okay, and you watch, you're like,
And like a bunch of people are just already going like, yo, is this the best State of Play ever?
it was pretty. I mean, of just not a focused one, not like Ghost of Tsushima or Horizon or Last of Us Part
Yeah.
2. Of the non-focused ones, it was probably the best one.
Yeah.
For sure. It doesn't say too much, but it was enjoyable.
Yeah.
Back to this. After Dragon Age, we have Tekken Bloodline. So they have a Tekken anime coming sometime this year.
Yeah. Which that could be cool. I mean, Tekken has a pretty cool storyline for like a fighting game.
And then Dota Dragon's Blood Season 3 is coming August 11th, which I haven't watched this yet. So I have to still watch both seasons of Dota, not counting the third one coming, and then also Dragon's Dogma, which has a show too. And the reason I say this is because like in Tekken, I'm interested in these only because it was proven to me that you can make a show based off a game that I don't give a shit about and make a really good show, which was Arcane. Because of Arcane, I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna check these out.
You're more willing to give these a shot?
I'm ready to give these a shot. I'm going to try them all out, watch them, and see if I'm just interested in the plot of these, even if I don't give a shit about the game.
That's cool.
That's the way I'm looking at it for these. And then Sonic Prime comes 2022. I know you might be interested in that. I don't want
as much as I like the occasional Sonic game, and I thought like I still didn't see Sonic 2 yet, but I liked Sonic 1, the movie. I kind of steer away from the Sonic animations.
Okay.
Well, the Sonic X was not bad.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of Sonic in any form or fashion, so I'm not giving this a chance at all. And yeah, it's one less thing for me to watch.
Yeah, once Sonic X went into space, I was like, this is a little bit too far for me.
Okay. Was the X for Extreme or something?
Probably.
And then finally, Castlevania Nocturne, which will be the one they
I saw
talked
that.
about it before.
I was like, I thought it was interesting, but it doesn't. Is it related to the previous Castlevania thing? Oh, okay.
So it's starring Richter Belmont, who they say is a descendant of. They state that he descends from. I'm
so stupid.
From Trevor and Sypha.
Yeah,
I don't know if it means it's. I think he's supposed to either be their son or grandson.
He's definitely like a descendant. I for some reason I totally blanked and I forgot that Richter was not the Belmont in the Castlevania show. I forgot that was Trevor.
Yeah.
So the fact that they're making a show based off of Richter is super cool because he's probably one of the fan favorite Belmonts.
Were you shocked that it's him and not Simon yet, or would you say Simon would come after potentially?
No, I honestly like. I know there is like a timeline order for the Castlevania games, but it doesn't really matter.
Here, so they could just kind of do whatever they want.
They could absolutely do like whichever one they want because honestly, the different Castlevania games kind of jumped around eras anyway.
Yeah, and then this will be French Revolution. I feel like they gave this information before. The only new thing was that they're like, "Look, it's Trevor." For a split second, and you're like, "Cool," and it's gone. And you're like, "Oh, fuck, okay." So yeah, I'm excited for this. This is for sure out of all the game properties that Netflix has, the one I'm looking forward to the most because we know what the previous series was able to pull off. So I'm ready for more of that, and with a brand new set of characters, easily looking forward to it. But that is all of Netflix Geeked Week, which I actually think we did a pretty good job of in terms of timing. It's not even 40 minutes in yet, and we started about 10 minutes, so not too bad. That's pretty much for this episode. In the part 2, all we're going to talk about for movies and shows. So from here on out, it's all gaming, completely just games. Starting with Summer Game Fest, which we'll get it right into. And to say first, the Summer Game Fest was interesting this year. Jeff Keighley made sure to put it like previously he's done weird things where it's not weird, but like he'll do like a day or like a specific show where it's like, oh, we're focusing on Unreal Engine 5 or Tony Hawk Pro Skater 1 and 2 or Crash Bandicoot 4 or something. Like he's done those like kind of singular versions of Summer Game Fest. This time he was like, we're going to do a full showcase, like a legit like E3 style showcase, what we're going to do. And to top it off, he's like, besides that, you can go watch it in select IMAX theaters as well when it premieres at like 11 a.m. Pacific time and shit. And so James and I got tickets for a nearby IMAX theater and just went and watched it.
Yeah, that was
And
super cool. I actually took a day off from work for once to do that.
it's kind of funny because you're in the IMAX theater, but they're playing it on stereo, so you're not getting the full theatrical audio.
Yeah, like I don't know if that's why there were like a few trailers where the audio just like did not hit like it probably should have. Like there was literally one trailer where you leaned over to me and you were like, this audio is killing it for me. And
Yeah.
I thought it was crazy because I was like, is it just me or is like these gun sounds are just like nothing?
Yeah, it was because we're in a massive theater and it's only playing stereo. If it's playing stereo, it's all the way just like just like coming over so sadly. Whereas, you know, we're in IMAX, like the audio system is much more surround sound. So I'm waiting for like, oh, we're watching Modern Warfare 2, waiting for all the shit to be like, oh, and I'm like, there isn't anything here. What the fuck? But it was still cool. It was an interesting experience. I just think for sure. I mean, I also see, you know, it's a live stream. They're showing a live stream. I could understand why it would be hard to put a live stream in surround sound. I don't think people really think about that or try to focus on that because you also don't usually put a live stream in a theater normally. So I get it. I'm not. It was still. It's like it was annoying, but I completely understand why it was like that. If that makes sense.
I love the theater's live stream also cut out a couple times.
Oh my god, the crowd was like, no.
Yeah.
It's great. But yeah, so we also, like I said, for all of these, we eliminated things that we had nothing really to talk about if we were interested. So this isn't everything from Summer Game Fest. This is just what we wanted to talk about from Summer Game Fest. And it's still the biggest list. After this, it gets a lot lower with the other showcases. But first things first, we saw Street Fighter 6 gameplay. Looked kind of cool. I think the cool thing was like it felt like really just a full announcement. And I cracked up because we're watching it and they're like, dude, Street Fighter 6, you could fight in the streets.
Yeah, like they showed off the campaign
shit.
a little bit, and I was like, oh, there's like an actual free roam area or something. Like, and it, unless I'm crazy, it looks like they're trying to recreate like the Final Fight city as well, which is kind of an interesting like meta thing.
Yeah, and I think, you know, there's not really much to talk about because we're gonna, I guess, talk about it again.
To make Guile more American, they give him like a mustache and beard.
Yeah, he had facial hair
and blue overalls, and I was just like, yo, he's even more American now.
Real American hero. Yeah, but I think we'll talk about it more when they show. They'll be more extensive during the Capcom showcase.
Yeah, most likely for sure.
Yeah, so but Alien's Dark Descent, which was announced for 2023.
Dude, I got so confused by this.
Everyone in the theater was like the same exact emotion.
Like they had this super cool cinematic trailer, and I was like, oh well, this looks amazing. What's this about? Like, is it more Fireteam DLC, or is it Fireteam DLC? Is it like a whole new first-person shooter, or like what's going on? And then they showed like 2 seconds of gameplay at the end, and it's like a top-down like twin stick shooter, and it's like, oh, that's probably still fun, but that's not what I was picturing.
Dude, it was so funny when they did that. They're like, everyone's like, oh shit, xenomorphs and stuff, and everyone seemed kind of excited. And the minute it shows the top-down gameplay, everyone in the, it wasn't like a filled theater, but the people like in the theater that were vocal were just like, ah, fuck.
Yeah, it was like, oh, okay.
It's just one of those things where when you see something that like cinematic, you always think like the best thing, and then it shows you what you're not expecting. That's like, it's a psychological thing. It's hard to say. Do I blame the developer for that? Do I blame the consumer for that? It's so hard to tell. Like, you never know how it's gonna go. So I get it, but you know, it was just funny. I don't necessarily think I'll play it, but it was just funny just for the story of that was the funniest thing in the theater practically. Besides the reoccurring, them showing every game and them going like, I don't think it's on Switch. And like everyone in the theater is like, this isn't on Switch. This is also not on Switch. And it's like, yeah, dude, most games that you'd see on a normal platform is probably not going to be able to go on Switch because the Switch can't handle that shit.
Like as much as I love my Switch, as much as I love my Switch, it's becoming way more and more obvious that like they need to do like a Switch Pro or something because like it cannot handle even like some of Nintendo's own games at the point.
Isn't it funny how that works? Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, like Hyrule Warriors was super fun, but oh boy, the frame rate on that game was not stable.
But we then got gameplay of the Callisto Protocol, which looked really fucking good.
It looks like Dead Space.
Yeah, it's I mean, it's pretty much, it's people that made Dead Space, or some of the people that made Dead Space. And
Yeah, it looks super cool though. And
yeah.
like I love they showed off one of the ways you could die in that game, and like they dodged they like well, not only that, like the one where they dodged like right or something, but they dodged like into a turbine and it actually like
Oh my
insta kill
God.
sucks them into it like slowly. And I was just like, awful. Jesus.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that was horrid. But no, when
Show
one of
me
them
more,
bites your
please.
face off and like literally your
Yeah.
blood just like was like
Dude, like that, it was so gross.
and
I
when you're
want more.
shooting, when you're like not necessarily dismembering fully, it's not like necromorphs or anything, but when you're shooting off like arms and stuff, you could see the bones sticking out. You could see the bones.
Yeah.
The detail there is so fucking good. It's I'm so excited
Yeah,
to play
very
this
excited
game.
for this game.
Yeah, like I said before, like at the beginning when we started January, I said this was in my top 5 most anticipated.
I went from like knowing nothing about it and being like whatever about it to, oh my God, this is probably one of my most hyped games right now.
Yeah.
Probably because it's also one of the most like imminent games coming out, because it's like just a few months from now.
And we saw it during the state of play, I believe we talked about it a bit last week and gave the release date in December and everything else.
We just saw like an extended thing.
Yeah, we saw the full on, it was like actual full on gameplay and stuff. So that was really, really cool to see. And then next was Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2. And it's, continuing from the first, not the first, the fucking, this is the second
Modern
Call
Warfare
of Duty.
2.
Yeah, it's when you really think about it, it kind of does hurt the head a bit. But you get more of a Task Force 141, where it's like, Price and Gaz, and this time you got Soap and Ghost with you. And also, what was his name?
Yeah, they mentioned like the Mexican Special Forces guy.
Was it Alvarez?
Oh, I don't remember. He's what, like, I'm so bad with names. He's like literally the only new character.
Yeah, he's like part of it was Mexican Special Forces, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I'm excited to see that, just because I don't think we ever get that. They might have done that for, I think the closest anyone probably got was just Rainbow Six Siege going like, look, it's Mexican operator skin. There you go. Have fun. And then that was it. I don't think anyone else has ever focused on that. Other times, if it's Mexican character, it's probably where it's like fucking Call of Juarez or something, where it's like, you got to go kill the cartel. And it's like, okay, so just kill Mexican character. Thank you. Thanks, guys. Love it. All right. So I'm really excited to see what this is going to be like, but they were emphasizing things like the ships and oil rigs. So I'm very curious as to what the goal is for this one, and the reason why you would have a Mexican Special Forces person with you. Is it going to be like actually going after cartels, or is it going to be something else? Like, who knows what this is going to be about. I assume we're leaving like the Middle Eastern Russian setting for something else, but we'll see. Flashback 2. Sequel to an old game that I had no recollection about.
Yeah, I don't remember it either. So, like, I mean, the trailer looked cool, but I was just like, I need to know more to get excited.
It looked, the way the side scroller was going, it looked interesting. The way the designs were for the levels, or like it looked like the design was like level, and then you look out and there's like a weird like silhouette of a person or something. It was kind of weird, but I don't know. Yeah, wait and see more for the most part for that one. Witchfire was kind of cool looking. This was like a weird like shooter that has magic.
Yeah, with like knights in armor and stuff. Like it looked so different and interesting. Like I might actually play this for a bit.
Yeah, it was this summer was like interesting, and just seeing these weird shooters that have like more. It's like it doesn't feel like normal. Like, oh, it's military shooter or Royale.
There's a lot of Doom
shooter
clones out there now, just because like Doom is back in like favor, I guess.
Yeah, it's like Metal Hellsinger and stuff like that, where it's like, play the whatever to the tunes and stuff, and I feel like I've seen it for 3 summers now.
Yeah, I kind of want to download the demo, because there is a demo for Metal Hellsinger right now, and like
I'm sure it's all fun.
game.
If you like Doom, I'm sure you'll love this.
That's the thing. All the gameplay I've seen of it doesn't, like, for some reason it doesn't appeal to me. Like, even though it literally looks like Doom, but like a rhythm game, And that sounds so cool that I'm like, I hope that once I actually play it, it'll feel really cool and I'll get into it. But like for some reason, watching trailers, I'm just like, I can't feel like getting into the beat with this for some reason. So I don't know.
Okay. And then Fort Solis. So this was interesting because Troy Baker came out. Yeah, he came out on the stage and was just like, yeah, this is my game. And I'm like,
oh, he came out like multiple times.
Yeah, he kept coming out. He wouldn't go away. Troy Baker wouldn't go away.
Troy Baker, you making every game today?
God, at least he didn't announce more NFTs. That was a funny thing. But
God, that was a mistake.
Yeah, he was like, "Oh, I didn't know the people would be this angry." But like, dude, you didn't fucking see shit. Yeah, it looks interesting. The way it's weird because it's like you'll see a movie where someone acts and directs, and this is interesting because this is like the same thing but a game where it looks like Troy Baker is the lead character and he's also in charge of the game. So I'm like, I don't think I've ever seen someone act and direct a game that's not maybe like in a small indie title or something like that. But I don't know, James, was there anything about it that stood out to you?
No, again, it's one of those things where they're just like, all they told us, all they told us was Troy Baker's in it, and it's, I mean, yeah, they did say it's like a mystery game. So
you see the guy wandering around, it was just kind of like we didn't know what he was doing.
Yeah, like it looks cool. It's just, again, I need to know more before I like actually not even just like invest my money, just like invest my time.
Yeah.
Because that's like, I mean, maybe by the end of this episode, you'll get an idea of like how many games were announced, and we're skipping a shit ton.
We're skipping majority of them, I guess you would say.
It's honestly. like I know you skipped over pretty much, or at least you didn't like list anything from the Guerrilla Collective or anything. And when we get to that, I guess it's just like, it's cool that there are these showcases for just indies, but when they're like 2 hours long and there's literally hundreds of games shown off at each one of these, I don't have enough time to play all these games. So like, it's hard to really get to stay excited the whole time, I guess.
Yeah, and you know, there's certain points where you're going to lose interest, and it might make you forget what you already saw that might have been interesting, just because there's so much. But you know, I know people that only play indie games and don't even touch AAA games, so I'm sure they had the time of their lives with it and got their stuff out of it. But I'm just, you know, not like that myself personally.
Yeah.
We got Routine, which was a shocker.
It looks so interesting.
It was, I was not ready. They're like, yeah, announced 10 years ago. And I'm like, what is this?
I was like, what?
I'm like, Island 2 was 10 years ago? That's crazy. And then,
like, I definitely, though, I like it looks like it takes place on some sort of abandoned space station. Like the robots wandering around were creepy looking. And then like the weird, there seemed to be some system where like you look at your gun weapon or it might have even just been like a video camera somehow.
Like a scanner.
For whatever reason, because we didn't get to see what it does.
Yeah.
But like the character like picked it up and then was like just looking at different parts of it, and then I guess clicking a button to alter different parts of the gun for different attachments. And I was just like, I want to know more about how that works, because it was so smooth and fluid, and like it looked really interesting.
Yeah, very much so. It's funny too, because you see it and you're like, oh, cool. Like the aesthetic of it all looked really fucking cool. And especially when you look at the gun scanner, whatever the fuck it is, it looked interesting. And it's funny because you look at the robots and you have your back to them the whole time, and you're like, oh, there's, you know, robots. It's like Terminator or something. And when one of the robots catches you and it's
like face like flips open. And
yeah, and I'm like, oh, like that's how you make robot horror, I guess. Like that was well done. So I was genuinely interested in that. Then we got our ad from The Rock.
God, that was the weirdest part of that entire show. Like the entire time I was just like, why is this happening? Like, why does he not have a shirt on?
Well, he's in his gym. So The Rock's in his gym. He's just
I wish I had a gym like him,
recording a video.
Dude, he calls it the Iron Paradise, and I absolutely believe it, because it looks like the best gym I've ever been to, and it's all his shit.
That's why I will buy Rock products for working out, and
He knows what the fuck you want.
Straight up, yeah. I'm like actually, like, I will invest in. That's why I tell everyone, if we could be sponsored by one company, it would be Zoa. I want to be sponsored by
Get
Zoa.
Zoa energy.
Holy shit, I will fucking talk about Zoa on this podcast for like 5 minutes if it means we're gonna get free Zoa and like get sponsored by that. Fuck yes, I will do that with full enthusiasm. Like it's not even hard at all for me. But like, yeah, he's straight up, he's talking, he advertises in his advertisement in the, like, it's an ad in an ad where he's talking about like, yo guys, my movie Black Adam's coming out, also I'm drinking Zoa, and you look in the corner of his gym is a fucking like a whole Zoa fridge
just for Zoa.
It is a Zoa fridge though. It is a fucking Zoa fridge. And
I do appreciate that they put the effort into trying to segue it, like, and say like this is kind of related to video games, being like, hey, on The Rock, I played that one character in Fortnite. Fortnite's a video game. Anyway, other product placement.
Yeah. God, that was like 3 or 4 different products in that one video. It was like, hey, Fortnite. Hey, Zoa. Hey, Black Adam coming to theaters in October. And, you know, we
both were like, wait, are they going to show like the trailer for Black Adam that was like released a few days ago?
It was like a 30-second version of it.
It was like shortened. That was so weird.
But that trailer was actually really fucking good, though. I really,
I'll be fair. In IMAX, that was fucking cool.
Yeah, that was awesome as hell, and I'm so excited for Pierce Brosnan. Like Hawkman, Dr. Fate look cool. Atom Smasher looks cool. Cyclone, we really get a good look at Cyclone, but I think
it's so weird because like one of the things we keep saying or praising DC on, like with all the mistakes that they make with their movies, the one thing they're consistently, literally better than Marvel at is casting.
Casting and costumes are fucking phenomenal.
Yeah,
each time it's insane how good they look. Insanely good. Dr. Fate looks so good. Oh my god. But yeah, then we got American Arcadia, which I'll say, guys, we saw this in like 3 or 4 different fucking showcases.
It was like everywhere, dude.
It would not stop showing up, and it's like it's a combo of different movies. It feels like influences, like even like Truman Show.
It's interesting is there's even 2 very different gameplay segments to it. There's like the side-scrolling stuff where you're the dude inside Arcadia.
Yeah.
And then there's the other part where you're like the
woman helping him, right?
Yeah, the woman trying to like hack into the Arcadia systems and like figure out a way to save him and like get him out of there without dying or being canceled off the show.
Yeah, and then if you get canceled on the show, you're fucking killed. And it's like it doesn't, it's very like, you know, not cartoony, but it's very simplistic. But the cool thing about this is the theme, like the atmosphere, the setting. It's like, it looks like it's back in like the old days, like in the 50s or something, when the way they idealized the future of what it looked like. This is like that style of like,
it's like We Happy Few, but good.
I never played that.
It's like as soon as they were like, it's a survival game, and I was like, oh, why?
It's just drugs, the game. But yeah, no, I was legitimately interested. I love the design of everything, just the theme of it all. But yeah, we just saw it a lot, and I'm excited to see how this goes though. I forget which country it's being developed in, because there was a lot of, like, this game is shown in, I think, Tribeca and Day of the Devs, and it is like a lot of those developers are all international. Like there weren't that many American games, but we'll get to that soon enough. Goat Simulator 3. So this was the biggest fucking trick here, guys. So they're like, hey, here's a trailer for a game that everyone's been waiting for, and it starts off the trailer is the exact same trailer as the revealed trailer for Dead Island 2. Remember that fucking game that never came out?
Yeah.
From Deep Silver, I think.
That was super funny and clever.
Yeah, and you know, we get Dead Island 2 and you're like, oh my god, it's fucking holy shit, like that game. And it looks like, the first things first, everyone looks at it is like, why does this look like shit? Like, it looks like, compared to like,
it looks the same, but there's something off about it.
Yeah,
it doesn't
like,
look as good. Like,
just it looks like they took out the entire budget or something.
I was like, did they
change
to a different like engine or something?
Like, damn, they really did lose funding on the game. And you see the goat pop out, and you're like, oh, yeah, like literally everyone in the theater was like, I get it,
dude. I love how they even fuck with you, but it's like Goat Simulator 3. Like, did they skip over 2?
Dude, straight up, I kid you not, I asked that question. I'm like, was there a second goat simulator? Other people asked it, and people are like, yeah, there's a second goat simulator. And I'm like, I thought there was only one.
Yeah, I was like, maybe there was a second one. I don't think there was though.
Yeah, so that was shocking to say the least. But yeah, I was like, oh shit, Goat Simulator 3. It was more so that the way they just kind of shit on Deep Silver was the funny part. Like that
That's
was
so
really
funny.
fucking good. I cracked up on that. Are we ever gonna get that fucking game? Or like that is the new
I
game.
don't
Like
know, dude.
we've gotten Duke Nukem Forever, we've gotten Last Guardian, we've gotten Final Fantasy 15, which was 13 verses and
We
everything
got
else.
2 Dying Lights.
We got the only thing I think we're
Dang.
missing, the oldest games now that we're missing is like Dead Island 2, Scorn, and Tekken X Street Fighter, because we got Street Fighter X Tekken,
Oh
and we never came out with
yeah.
that either. So like those are like the 3 fucking hell
I don't
games.
think Tekken X Street Fighter is happening.
I feel like someone said it was still, but I could, I feel like they're crazy. I mean, we already know the agent was definitely fucking canceled. So like they were
Yeah. At least they finally were like, that's stop believing in it. It's
yeah,
dead.
stop believing these things. Next up was Marvel Midnight Suns. We got to see that they're including Spider-Man as a playable character now.
That's kind of cool. I mean, no gameplay. They didn't show gameplay still, but like, yeah, I did. Being a massive Spider-Man fan, I did like seeing that Spider-Man's going to be one of the characters. And
I mean, that's how they're going to sell it. That they just need to show Spider-Man, and that's probably going to sell more copies than it already planned on.
Probably, yeah. And then, yeah, Venom is gonna, I guess, be one of the bosses you fight at some point, and he's like either possessed by a demon or he's turned into a demon or something, and so is the Hulk. It's very interesting. I want to know more now.
And like, I'm very curious, like if there's gonna be more heroes too. I'm assuming it'll be more non-magic heroes that are like.
Yeah, I'd imagine so. Like
Yeah.
I was a little bit interested in Midnight Suns before, and now I'm just like, oh, if they're just gonna keep adding more heroes and it's not just the supernatural ones, like I am very much more interested in, like, especially seeing the like demonized Marvel characters as like villains or enemies to fight. I'm much more interested now.
Yeah, it's kind of like what was that Spider-Man game, the Venom one? Remember the one where like Venom kind of takes over the city, and Spider-Man has to like. It's got like a Venom Wolverine and stuff.
Yeah. Oh, I totally forget. Yeah, I don't remember.
Yeah, but I feel like
one.
Similar to that. But yeah, remember this game is basically like Marvel's XCOM, and I do like those types of games, and I actually really want to go.
Yeah,
for
that's
XCOM
super
2
weird.
Eventually,
though.
so yeah, that it'll be. I'm excited for it because it's for Axis.
I downloaded
it's made
Tactics.
Civilization.
Yeah, I downloaded Gears Tactics to my PC because I realized, like, wait a minute, I only ever played that on cloud up to this point.
Oh, yeah, I never played that.
Like, and it literally started on PC, so I might as well just download it and just finish it and actually play it on my good PC.
There you go. That's the ticket. Super People, which is a battle royale that apparently is like PUBG specifically, but you'll have superpowers in it too, besides just like guns and everything else. It was an interesting cutscene, and I went and looked up some gameplay. It does, like, people were describing it as PUBG, but better. And I'm like, oh, okay. Because you got like supers in it and stuff. Kind of like, I guess you could say like Destiny or Smash Brothers or something like that.
I'd be interested in giving a shot, maybe.
Yeah, it could be something to check out eventually. But yeah, I'll be honest, I might just eventually forget it exists just because I'm not a person that like goes into battle royales really. Like Hunt Showdown's kind of like the closest I get to it. I like barely even touch Apex. Like it's usually when a friend bothers me about it.
That's another thing. I downloaded Apex to my PC as well, and I just haven't gotten to it yet.
It's understandable. It's not going anywhere.
No, for sure.
Yeah. Humankind: Cultures of Latin America. So Humankind's a really cool strategy game that it's pretty much like, build your own history, build your own culture and things like that.
It looks so detailed. Like I'm not usually into these kinds of games, but from like the first trailer they put out years ago, I immediately was like, this looks way detailed and super interesting.
Yeah, and what did interest me is like they're doing a whole Latin American expansion, so that does make me more interested in this game, just because I do like strategy games. I especially love RTS games, and I do have Civ 6, and I barely touched it. So I'm like, I don't want necessarily another strategy game when I haven't touched the one I already have. But
that's fair.
It is something that has now interested me that will kind of stay on my radar more so now, at the very least. One Piece Odyssey, which looks like potentially a story-based One Piece game.
It's like an actual story-based game and not just like another anime fighting game.
Yeah,
like I might actually play this. Looks cool.
I personally don't usually do the anime games, but yes, it's if other people like it, I just that's one genre I'm like I don't need to add to my
Yeah,
fucking
that's fair.
like rotation. I feel like Nightingale. So this was actually kind of cool. This had like a crazy card system in it. It was Nightingale,
Yeah.
right? That had the card. Yeah,
Yeah, I'm not usually into like survival games either, but like this one though has that like I think the reason why I don't get into them is I eventually get well, one, I'm not that into like base building or whatever. Uh, but I also kind of get tired of doing the same things in the same world for like too long or
yeah.
whatever. So this one though, having those interesting like realm cards where like you go to a like magic gate and you like sacrifice these cards that you forge and it'll let you go to different worlds to just
And
like
then build there.
harvest. Yeah, to either like do what some fun shit there or to like get resources and stuff. Like so it feels like there would be more variety of like just shit you're doing and locations you're going to in this game than any other survival game I've seen.
And just the cool thing of all these different environments and potentially all the different things that are within that environment, whether it's like different animals and predators and whatnot. So
It seemed very
I
roguelite ish
yeah,
or roguelike ish because they talked a lot about like different modifiers you could put on your card. So it's like you could change like the weather of like the place you go to, the kinds of monsters that show up, the kinds of loot that show up. Like very cool.
yeah. So I'm definitely keeping my eye on this. This has had multiple showcases as well.
Yeah.
I'm for sure wishlisting this one easily. Like it's definitely one of the more interesting games I think I saw this
Yeah.
week
That's
for sure.
that's already on my wish list.
Saints Row Boss Factory. So
That was
that
so
that
confusing
fucking
to
game
me.
is coming out in August, and they're like, hey, we made a thing called Boss Factory. You can create your own character now. So that now that way in August when the game comes out, your character's pre-made, and you just jump in and play. So you've already gotten the character creation done, which for some people could take like 30 minutes depending on how detailed
Yeah.
they want to get. Um, I'm still not interested in Saints Row at all. Just the way everything looks, the way it all feels, just doesn't interest me. But I think the idea of Boss Factory of creating your character before the game comes out is actually a really, really interesting concept that other developers could actually take notes on,
Yeah.
especially games that are like RPGs, like fucking Bethesda Softworks and stuff. I do like the idea where you can pre-make your character. That way, when the game comes out, if you're like dying to jump in, you could save yourself 30 minutes and just jump right in. That's actually really cool. I do like that idea. And yeah, if others do that, definitely props to Volition at least for creating that.
Yeah.
Definitely appreciate that.
Yeah. I initially when I saw the reveal in the theater, I was just like, wait, so it's not an actual demo, it's just the character creator. That's a really odd choice. I don't get it. But the more you talked about it, about how like, yeah, you literally just you can create your character beforehand. And I thought about like, yeah, literally every time I start playing one of those games that has a like robust character creator, I just want to get through it because I want to play the game. So like I'll rush through making my character in like Fallout or like one of the Elder Scrolls games because I don't want to take that much time. I just want to start playing. So that is actually like the more I think about it, the more like you kind of convinced me that like the ability to just spend that time beforehand and then like just have your character ready when the game comes out. That is a good idea.
Yeah. And I see it's also a very smart business move. Imagine maybe I didn't want to play that game, but I get this and I download it and I create my character and I'm like, you know what? Actually, I made this character. My character looks kind of cool. Maybe this game isn't so bad as I thought it would be. And I go and
Or it's
buy
just
it and
like
I pre-order it.
impressive.
Yeah. So that's very,
And that
very
was
smart.
it was honestly impressive the things they were showing off that like how deep of customizations you can get. Like you could look like just a regular dude in a beer hat or fucking Nosferatu.
Yeah. I'm not gonna lie, that does make me want to get the game.
Yeah.
I just didn't like it all looked super fucking tech bro shit. That was the big turn off there.
That's
That's what I
fair.
didn't like. If they turn like I don't like that the character's like my personality is I don't have a shirt on. I'm like,
Hmm.
fuck this. I don't want to play this. God, it's so God. They could have such a good fucking game on their hands if they just changed some of that shit. Oh my god. Warhammer 40K Dark Tide. So this game, I'm probably not going to get it day one unless my friends make me do it. But it's like Left 4 Dead Warhammer, and it's 40K. It's a spiritual successor to the other two Warhammer games that are like this. It's called Vermintide, and you're basically fighting the entire race of rat people and shit. And I played Vermintide 2 a little bit. I actually need to get back to it. It's like that, Sea of Thieves, Final Fantasy 14 are these like PC games I'm playing with a specific group of friends that I just need to get back to all of them. But looking at just funny going from like fantasy Warhammer to like sci-fi future space Warhammer, I was just like, oh my god, but you're doing like the exact same thing. What's different is you're not using like swords, instead it's like fucking guns and other shit, and it looks really fucking good. It does make me want to get back and like do more Vermintide 2, to where like when this comes out I'd be like, cool, I like got everything I wanted out of Vermintide 2. Now I could just go to the fucking future and blow up more shit. So definitely like that a lot. It was really dope. Then we got Gotham Knights. There was focused on Nightwing, which was cool. And you know, for me that is especially interesting just because Nightwing is my favorite character. He is, at least like DC wise, superhero wise, he probably is my favorite character overall. I definitely will be playing as him during Gotham Knights. That is for sure. So I don't know, there wasn't really anything else to talk about that they showed for Nightwing, was there?
Not really. I mean, I I want to be excited for Gotham Knights, but just for whatever reason, nothing that they've shown so far has really grabbed me. So
It's it. The thing that grabbed everyone was the Court of Owls, honestly.
yeah.
And then they haven't really shown it that much. And then, you know, they showed Jason Todd, and everyone made those memes about Jason Todd because he just looks like a giant fucking Hulk man. When
Yeah, that's another thing. People have been complaining that like the combat in this game looks way slower paced than the Arkham games, but we'll see when we get to it.
Don't like their design choices for the costumes and characters either. That's the other issue with it, is more of that. But you know. And then we got like a whole it was like a whole Naughty Dog finish, which was interesting. So here's what we got. The Last of Us multiplayer like factions for the first game.
I thought it was so funny they had less to talk about that than the next thing.
Yeah, so the multiplayer is coming. I'm assuming who knows if it'll still be called factions, but it's so big. They're like, yeah, it has to be fully standalone. And I think they said they'll have more to show about it next year. And
they had one piece of concept art to show.
Concept art, and it was, you know, it's like it's multiplayer, it's the combat, and it's in San Francisco. And I was like, oh shit, because you see like the part of the Transamerica Pyramid, you see the Bay Bridge, and I'm like, that's here. But I think
I know those places.
There's gonna be a story for it, which I'm really excited about. So honestly, I'm really pumped for what this could be potentially, because I've had fun with. I think I dabbled in the first factions a little bit, but more so I really enjoyed the Uncharted multiplayer. So I know Naughty Dog could do multiplayer when they really like get into it. So it could be like, it's not going to be Call of Duty big, but it's going to be fucking fun. And I'm actually looking forward to this when they do it. Then they showed us like an image of the Last of Us HBO show of like a close-up of Joel and Ellie, and they look great. Like Pedro Pascal, and
I'm so excited for this show.
Yeah, no, they look really fucking good. What's her name?
Little Mormont.
Bella Ramsey, yeah, Leanna Mormont. Bella Ramsey, though, that they're fucking. I'm so ready for the show. Like it, and they said they're like, this is going to be the best video game adaptation into film and television. And I'm like, I believe you. I fucking believe you guys. I honestly do for this. Like, I think they could really pull this off. Right now, Arcane is #1 in terms of video game adaptations. So this is the closest thing that'll probably be able to beat it off that pedestal now. And then we got The Last of Us Part 1, which I was laughing at. That's basically the first one, which was just called The Last of Us, and then The Last of Us Remastered for PS4. And now Part 1 is
that's less confusing than having to differentiate between Last of Us Remaster and Last of Us Remake.
It's very true, because it is a full PS5 remake of the first game. And, you know, I think we started off groaning because we're like, fuck, like no one asked for this, we didn't want this. And then they show the side by side, and I'm like, fuck, that looks really fucking like night and day difference, like ridiculously different. How insane. and they weren't comparing like PS3, PS5. It was PS4, PS5, and
Yeah, I
PS4
mean the
looked like a
PS4 ones still look good, but like definitely the PS5 one, like you literally look at it next to each other and you're just like, holy shit, that looks amazing.
it looks insane. It's like PS4 version looks like a cartoon now when you put PS5 next to it. So I'm like, fuck you guys, you're making me do it again. But I will say when this comes out, I'm not playing 2 after. I'm not going to go through that extra depression for a third fucking time. I'm just going to play 1. I'm okay just touching 1, play through it once. I will say this one request, because it's remake. It's not a remaster, which remaster, you know, they did what they needed to do. With a remake, you could make an entire new trophy system that's not banking on you playing the hardest fucking difficulty modes in order to get a platinum. So hopefully they have a much better trophy system like they did for part 2.
Oh my god, that'd be so nice.
Yeah, so hopefully they do that. If they do that, you know, that's a new ball. If they don't, then I probably won't try collecting anything. I'm just going to run through it. If they do actually a formidable platinum system that actually works, then I will 100% it. Potentially, maybe. We'll see. And then they hinted at the mystery project they're working on. They didn't hint at, they're just like, we're working on something new. Maybe you'll see it at Game Fest next year. That was it. But yeah, that was Summer Game Fest. We were an hour 15. I think we're doing okay.
Interesting that Game Fest is going to be also live, like in person next year.
Yes, it'll be in person and digital, and E3 is also coming back next year and will also be in person and digital. So yeah, I think we'll have a full, in part 2, we'll have kind of like a full like E3 week breakdown of everything, not like of the games, but just the showcase itself, the idea of all this itself. That sound good? For part 2 though, yeah. All right, on to Day of the Devs, which will be much faster because it's 6 things and not an entire fucking slew that's over a dozen. First off was Time Flies, which comes out next year. And this game is literally you're playing as a fly. This was, it was a funny thing of like, do I care about this? And immediately, actually, I was like, yes, I do care about this. I like this a lot.
I was so confused because like, I don't know, it's just super funny because it starts off by just saying like, life is short, everyone dies. So like, make the most of your time. I was like, oh, okay, that's pretty grim.
Yep. And you're playing as a fly. And it's funny.
It's not wrong.
You play as the fly, and you know you're just flying around the fucking house, and you know the simplest
it's just
things.
Like a pixel, like a black pixel flying around. It was so funny.
Yeah, the simplest things will kill you, and you're just like, you are dead. Play as new fly. And honestly, I'm like, dude, this looks really fucking fun. And the fucking like
Day of the Devs might be like the best put together show. Like it was super fun. Like I don't know, I really liked Devolver, but like it's also kind of a joke show.
Yeah,
like
I mean Devolver always does a good job, but I think it's also
they still do show off good games though.
Devolver it wasn't as good for the games they showed off this year as compared to other years that they've shown us stuff, but the the showcase itself of like the acting portion was as consistent as usual. But yeah, but Day of the Devs, I personally, I'll just say it now, I think that was out of every single thing, every showcase, Day of the Devs was my personal favorite. It had the most out of everything, like in terms of this show. I think they showed what, like 10 things, and I like 6 out of 10 of them. That's actually really fucking good compared to like a lot of other shows where some I was like 0 and you showed like
dude, PC
games.
Game Show was like 2 hours long and I got 3 things off of that.
Dude, I kept watching it and laying on my bed and just kind of like watching it diagonally, like
At one point I literally looked up like, how long is PC Game Show 2022? And like the Google results was like 95 minutes. I was like, I don't think that's right. It's definitely already past that.
2 hours late. Yeah, no, it was not. But yeah, so Time Flies. I'm really excited. Plays the fly around, fucking die, plays the new fly. I'm excited for that. I'm actually excited for that game. Like, we just look it up and you'll understand, I think.
That's a Switch game, maybe.
Next was Choo Choo Charles, which, what the fuck?
Dude, it's so funny and like weird and like, it's so strange because for me, the thing that really made me want to play it was just like the aspect of you cannot fight Charles. And like you basically when he shows up, you just gotta like book it back to your train and just like run around and like the train, like I don't know. It's
He gets there too fast, you're fucked. You're just fucked. He keeps hitting you away from it. Like, you're just kind of screwed.
Like, that might be a little bit frustrating.
That will be definitely frustrating, easily.
But it's just cool that, like, you literally, like, you go into your train, like, engine compartment, and you, like, flip all the switches and stuff like that, and, like, it just runs on its own on its tracks, and, like, Charles will follow you, and you go to the gun in the back, and you just, like, fire at him until he goes away.
It's the train. Better shoot it with your fucking machine gun. You know what it reminds me of? It's like Invaders Zim. Where is Santa in the Hearts and Souls of Snow? Oh no, he's in space gathering power. Oh no, he's coming.
Yeah, there he is now. Raise the shield, children. But like, so, and then like the idea that you gotta like you actually have to get off your train from time to time to do like,
and there's like other enemies. There's like
there's like
people
cultists,
or some shit.
Yeah, there's like cultists that like worship Charles, and it's just like, it's so interesting and different, and like also the fact that you can like upgrade your train over time to like be more effective at fending Charles off is super interesting. Yeah, and then like the whole point is to eventually call him out to just like straight up kill him. Like,
fuck you fucking try it, I'll kill you here.
Yeah, like it looks like not the most visually like beautiful games, and it's definitely like cheap looking, but just like the gameplay seems so fun and interesting that I actually wishlisted it on Steam and was like, I'll actually probably buy this when it comes out and like play really for like a few days.
Which we didn't really describe. So Choo Choo Charles, guys, think Thomas the Tank Engine
on like spider legs,
on fucking spider legs, and he's red and he's just like,
really like spiky teeth.
It's actually horrifying. You're like, why doesn't the train move like train? Train is Spider-Man just crawling around. It's an amazing concept where it's, think of childhood character one might have loved that was very much childhood friendly. Take it, create it into murder machine. It's kind of like, honestly, I guess the closest thing to this is Five Nights at Freddy's. And it gave me an idea for another very, a childhood character everyone loved. And I'm not going to talk about it because I don't want someone to steal my fucking idea now that I realized it. And I'm like, oh my God, I might save this. If I ever get the opportunity, I want to pitch this sometime. God, I'm not going to say who, but oh my God, it's such a fucking good idea. Then we had Escape Academy, and it's literally an escape room game. And I personally have never wanted to, I guess I could have interest in going in through an escape room just because I do like the solving aspects of things, being like kind of like a detective and whatnot, but I just never did it. And the fact that there's like a game that's like, hey, check it out, it's like an escape room, solve shit.
Yeah, it makes so much sense.
Yeah,
it sounds super fun.
There's not really much else to say, but I want to play this game. I like solving shit when it feels like you're being not solving shit to be like, oh, I'm solving puzzle game. I mean, like, I feel like Detective Man solves shit, noir type stuff, Batman, that kind of thing. I don't know why I said it like that, like an idiot, but yeah. Then we had A Little to the Left, which is very wholesome.
It's so funny. Like, I love the idea that it just plays off of the desire to make everything tidy and like organize things. But then there's also like a cat that will just like fuck up your shit every once in a while.
So good.
It's so funny.
That's literally what it's like, a kind of like puzzle game where you're just literally trying to put things right where they're supposed to be, and you're just doing multiple different things, and literally a fucking cat polished it. You're like, no. It looks fun, and I honestly like it. It looks like a nice game I could play in between two massive fucking open world games. It probably will kill me, and I'll be like, give me something simple and small. Oh, it's got a cat. Like, that's what's gonna happen. It'll probably between like whatever fucking life consumption Assassin's Creed game comes out.
Yeah.
Whatever else. Bear and Breakfast. It's a bear and he's got a bed and breakfast.
Dude, that trailer got me so bad. It's so funny.
The gameplay wasn't even that, like, I was looking at it and it wasn't the most appealing.
Like, the gameplay looks very Stardew Valley-esque, like, except instead of building up a farm, I guess you're building up like a bed and breakfast type thing.
Yeah. I will say I've never really been interested in those games, but if I'm going to give it a shot and just play one of them, it's going to be this one, because I just want to play as a fucking bear at a bed and breakfast.
Yeah, I love the trailer starts off with him like busting into some dude's room, and the dude like freaks out because there's a bear in his room, and then the bear just like takes something and leaves.
It's just
And he's just like, I'm so confused.
Yeah, it's God, it's so good. They did such a good job showing that game off, honestly.
Yeah.
Because I mean, I would say it did such a good job because it's a genre I don't care about, and now I want to play this. Like that's how good that was done. And then last was Shim, which he plays little little shadow puddle man.
Yeah, you're just jumping from shadow to shadow. Like it sounds super cool.
Yeah, out of these 6, it was probably barely made it on for me, but like it still looked cool enough that I still wanted to briefly just mention it. It looks like a cool little puzzle game where you're just kind of like waiting for the right moment to go from spot to spot, just because like you can only go from like a puddle to a puddle that's like a shadow. And I think it showed you can pop out for like a second, but I don't know exactly what that entails, if you die shortly after or anything.
Yeah, that confused me because I was like, yeah, I saw that. There were like there was one moment where they were outside of a shadow and it didn't seem to kill them. So
I feel like it's a limited time thing. I could be wrong.
Maybe.
I don't know, but or you lose points. Who knows? I don't know how that works, but yeah, that was Day of the Devs. It was great. Tim Schafer's great. Love that. Everything he like. God, I need to play Psychonauts still, but yeah, good time. Next up was it IGN Expo? I think it was IGN Expo. No, Devolver Digital. They showed off 5 games. Not necessarily interested in them all, but I figured because they do such a good showcase, we could just run through them pretty fast.
Yeah.
First off was Cult of the Lamb. It's like one of those little. How would you describe that game, James? I don't even know what to call it.
I mean, it seemed like there was some bits of like you're building up like a home base type thing. But I mean, I guess unless I am misunderstanding the trailer, you seem to play the lamb thing that like there's a cult built around you. So I guess you are like recruiting followers and putting them to tasks to like build up your village or whatever. And I guess also keep people from questioning things, because it looks like at some point in the trailer they were like burying like a dead follower or whatever.
Yeah, just nonchalantly burying it.
Yeah, but then like the combat, like I couldn't tell if the combat was just like a hack and slash or what, but like
yeah,
it doesn't look like it looks fun. I don't know if I would necessarily spend the time to play this game, although I probably would have thought the same thing out of just seeing what Nobody Saves the World. Like it's this very similar art style to Nobody Saves the World, but like I heard so many people recommending that before it came out that I gave it a shot, and it's like I literally keep wanting to go back to it when I have time because it's so fun. So maybe the same thing will happen with Cult of the Lamb, and I'll hear good things and I'll give it a shot and actually fall in love with it. But for now, it's just like it looks funny. It was a good trailer. I could maybe skip one.
Okay. Yeah, I'm probably not gonna play it myself personally. Anger Foot, which I think was probably the best thing, one of the 2 best things they showed here.
Like it looks like, again, unless I'm totally misunderstanding, it looks like maybe a 3D first person Hotline Miami type thing where you're just like busting through like rooms, killing everyone around you.
It's just a fucking frog with like shoes, like sneakers on. You're just like, you just see a frog leg, just like it looks so ridiculous. Like honestly, that's exactly what Jim's described is what this game is. There's not really anything else to talk about it, but it just looks so fast-paced, fun, and it just looks like
I'll definitely pick this one up when I get the chance. It looks super fun.
Yeah, absolutely riveting. Absolutely riveting.
Yeah,
yeah, absolutely. Card Shark, card game, poker.
Yeah, I'm not super hot on the art style, but it's interesting because it seems like it's a poker game, but the whole point is to cheat, but without getting caught. So that's interesting.
I'm personally not for me, but you know,
yeah,
hopefully, I'm sure it was on here. Devolver always gets a lot of people, so I'm sure someone will like it for sure.
Yeah.
The Plucky Squire. This one was interesting because it's like a character in a storybook, and he can pop out of the book, so it goes from like 2D to 3D.
Yeah, I love the art style for it. It looked really cool.
Yeah.
Or just like the fact that they tried to, like, it looked like it was a realistic storybook, and you're just like playing across the storybook, and then like when he just jumps off the page into like the real world, I was like, oh, there's more. Damn, this game looks hella cool.
Yeah, if I saw more about it, I might be more interested. Currently, I'm
Yeah.
not too interested, but the concept looks really interesting. The fact that you can switch potentially between 2D and 3D is actually a
Yeah.
really cool thing that they could pull off there, which honestly could be the seller for me and probably many other people easily.
Yeah.
And then the last thing was Skate Story, which I would say besides Angerfoot was probably the best thing I saw here. And it's straight
Yeah.
up
It
like
looks hella cool.
you're in like apparently hell and you're a demon and
Yeah. A
you're
demon made of glass and pain.
glass and pain and you're just skating. And I'm like,
Just like the visuals and the music of this game match
music is
up. It's such
fucking
an
great.
interesting atmosphere.
Yeah.
I wasn't that interested before, but this trailer really did it for me.
Yeah. And I honestly, the music itself was really drawing me in.
Yeah.
That and the art style, it looks really cool. And if I can just skateboard, I'm down to play this. Honestly, I really thought it was nice. I liked it a lot. And Devolver, they continue their thing of live action shit and being like the consumer, the product, you need the thing.
Yeah.
And Suda51 is a mech, which was really
Oh,
funny.
that's who it was.
He
That's why
just
that
a
guy was
screen
familiar.
there. Yeah, and for those that don't know, Suda51 is the guy that made all the No More Heroes games, among some others.
Yeah, that dude's great.
And yeah, he's just like repeating himself, like saying numbers and shit.
He's like trying to count and it was like terrible at it.
Yeah, he's 25, 21, 25.
He's like, how long does this go on?
Yeah, it's so fucking weird. But they're always. I always urge everyone just watch all the Devolver showcases because there's an actual story, and it's pretty fucking funny.
So funny.
The only thing I'll always say is they overplay saying fuck a little too much, but whatever works.
Maybe.
Yeah. But it's so fucking good. And they make fun of everyone. Like this year, they made fun of all the acquisitions, especially from Xbox.
Yeah. Like everyone's buying everything.
Xbox bought Bethesda again a second time because they could.
Yeah. So it's like, wait, you're saying that Devolver is becoming the one company that is every company? Like, yeah, this is terrible. Like, why? Like, because we can't be the one company. Like,
we're fucking Devolver.
Why not? Yeah, why not? Because we're Devolver. We don't know what the fuck we're doing.
That's so good. Next up, we got IGN Expo, which I just got 2 games here. First off was Aliens Fireteam Elite, an expansion or DLC called Pathogen, which comes out August 30th. And for those that don't know, this is like the Left 4 Dead Aliens game. And, this came out near the time that Back 4 Blood came out. And, how we felt about Back 4 Blood, it was kind of disappointing. It's something you could play, and I do eventually want to play it again, but I wasn't feeling it at the time. And Aliens, I was playing with 2 of my friends. We still have to finish Fireteam, but it is fun. It's very, it's not doing anything special. It doesn't feel as good as Left 4 Dead necessarily, but you're playing a fucking Aliens game. You feel like Colonial Marine. The sound design for the guns are exactly like as they were in the movies. Yeah. It's so good that they have that, but I enjoy it. It's 3 players, and I do want to get through the rest of it before this DLC comes out for sure. And end of August, that gives me, a good amount of time, I'd say. I was definitely more interested in this Alien announcement than the previous Alien announcement for sure.
Yeah.
So there's that. The other thing was The Walking Dead, The Last Mile, which at first I'm like, oh, looks like Telltale Walking Dead again. And then it went into something I was not expecting, which is a 24/7 fan-driven game experience, or it's like an interactable experience or something, where I guess like it almost seems like it could be a Facebook game or something. I don't know, where all the
anyone where the Facebook symbol was on there,
or it's just a Facebook page. It's so I couldn't tell. It was so hard to say. But I assume it's like a big old like just interactive thing where players can either just play as a character and interact in like a server. It's just like probably separate servers for everything, and you just do whatever you're doing to survive. I don't know. It's so hard to say. Or if it's like a Facebook game that's just like, oh, it's Facebook. I don't fucking know. They didn't really give you much. They just kind of gave a teaser of like this guy stopping another guy from robbing him, but then accidentally shooting him and then going to help save the guy. It's so hard to say what the hell is going on.
Yeah,
that's all I got. And it's snowy. Also, it's wintry time, so the walkers are slower now. Did you have anything from IGN Expo?
Yeah, the one thing from IGN Expo I think I saved on my Steam wish list was a game called Evo Tinction, which is a weird name, but it seems like a stealth game set in like an underground super futuristic lab. Like the trailer was talking about like the whole point of this facility is to try to solve potential future human problems. So everything in this lab is like way more futuristic than things you would find like elsewhere in the world.
Mm-hmm.
So like I guess the idea is like the things that you'll be encountering that you'll have to like sneak past and stuff like that, because it looks like it's a stealth game of some sort, are all like futuristic robots and security systems. Like I don't know, just it was the one game out of the entire showcase that actually looked like interesting and I might want to play, especially since I love stealth games and I don't get too many like actually good ones nowadays. So I'll keep my eyes on this one, see if it's actually worth playing.
Okay. And then I forget, did you have anything from Guerrilla Collective 3.0?
Yeah, I had a few things. The first one actually also showed up in a couple shows, but The Last Worker. And I just find it so funny that there are now multiple games treating Amazon as like this horrible dystopian, like end of humanity company. Because the company in this game that you are literally like the last human worker at this like shipping fulfillment center. The company is called Jungle, which is basically just like a play off of jungle, which with like a weird U, and which is obviously a play off of Amazon, which is a type of like rainforest jungle. But anyway, so it looks really interesting that you are a worker in a fulfillment center. You're the last human, and you're like trying to keep your job because you're somehow like the only person in like 17 years that's never made a mistake, so they could never fire you. And I don't know, it looked surprisingly intriguing. So I want to get into that one. Let's see, I think was that the only one from was Scathe from the Future Game Show? I think Scathe might have been from the Future Game Show.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then anything from Wholesome Direct?
Yeah, the only thing from the Wholesome Game Direct was, I think it was a couple things. One was a game called River Tales, which was a cool co-op game where like one person plays a fish and another person plays as like a cat. And the only reason why it looks interesting to me is because it's a co-op game designed entirely around co-op and like needing each other to solve puzzles, because like the fish, like the cat can't get across the river segments without the fish's help, and like the fish obviously can't go outside of the water. So it just looked very like a very useful need for cooperative play, and not just like you can play this game co-op and it's more fun with friends. It's not fun at all alone. Then there was another game called Shashingo, Learn Japanese with Photography.
Shasha.
And like at first I was like, oh, it's another photography game. I'm not really that into photography. I'm not that into photography games either. So I don't see the
There's
point.
like 3 or 4 photography games this year.
Yeah, but the thing about Shashingo though, literally the whole point is just to help you learn Japanese. So they'll have you go around and you'll learn what everything is by like you'll get the Japanese names once you take pictures of them and stuff, and it'll like test you on like, go look for this thing, and you'll have to go find it and take a picture of that object, and it'll stress your memory of like trying to remember what like different names of things are in Japanese. And just like I have always struggled with learning new languages. Like that was like what I never was good at it in middle school. I was never good at it in high school, and I just found it boring, and I'm bad at memorization. But if you can gamify stuff, that obviously makes it more fun, more engaging. Stuff sticks in my head better. So, and I never really had a particular interest in learning Japanese specifically, but I might actually give this game a shot, because like it seems like such a creative, fun way to learn a language. Like I was like, damn, that's a smart idea.
Yeah, I really want to go to Japan next year, so that actually does sound intriguing. I didn't know. I was skimming through everything, so I literally was, I was looking through it all very, very fast, so I completely missed this apparently.
Yeah.
You send me something about this later. I want to know more about this. And what was the
And
other game?
there was another game called Terra Nil, that was like the whole point of it was using green technology to try to fix the environment of like the earth. And I was just like, damn, that is wholesome. Like shit sucks and the world is dying. I want to fix it. And I don't feel like I could do anything to help that. So maybe this game can at least help me sort of feel like I could pretend I'm doing something.
So depressing.
Yeah, right. Oh damn, there were actually like a few things from
Oh, is there more?
Pal World.
Pal
Wait,
World
was
was a
Pal
different
World
one.
from
No, that wasn't from
okay,
that. That was from a
so
different one.
Psychroma.
I think Pal World was Future Game Show.
Oh my god, was Psychroma from Future Game? See, that's the thing, like not everything on Steam actually lists it as like part of those shows, which is annoying. Let's see. The Key Locker was an interesting like cyberpunk turn-based action game, which seemed kind of cool. Like, I guess the only thing that really drew me to that was just the art style looked really, really interesting. What else? Is that it? Oh, no. There was a couple more things. Signalis looked interesting. That was from the Guerrilla Collective. And again, that one mostly interested me because it's one of those games going for like a PlayStation 1 art style. So I just find it so interesting that there's like nostalgia for some people making games now for that early era of 3D visuals, that you're like literally intentionally making things look like it was on a PlayStation 1. So Signalis looks super cool. Easily though, for me, my favorite thing I saw all day yesterday was probably a game called 9 Years of Shadow, which is it's a side scrolling, like it looks like a Metroidvania type game, like a Castlevania game. But what drew me to it was like the pixel art style. It's like it's so detailed and the art looks so cool. And then they also really grabbed me with like, I guess throughout the game you get different suits of armor that help you manipulate different like elements, and also just gives you the abilities to travel through the environments in different ways. So I'm just like, yeah, I love Metroidvania games. So like that's already like a plus for me. Then the art style for this game just looks so rad that I'm just like, damn, I absolutely want to play 9 Years of Shadow when that comes out. I think that's it for those two shows. Wait, Being and Becoming, is that also? God, Being and Becoming.
I don't remember that one in those ones, so you can knock that out now if you want.
Okay, that one was another like Metroidvania looking one. It's just like also again interesting, very grotesque art style for that one, where there's just like a lot of body horror looking stuff. And like the last thing that interested me about that was there was like your character seems to be like wrapped up in a restraint jacket, but like you have like phantom arms like kind of floating outside your body. So it's just, I don't know, it was just such an interesting look of your character literally bound, but like you still are fighting with like arms and stuff like that. Like it looked very cool.
Okay, interesting. Well, we got 2 left, and I think, let me check the time. I think we can knock this out. I think we can do this. All right, so next up is Tribeca Games Spotlight. And I want to say one of the games you already talked about, so that makes it a little bit easier. But Thirsty Suitors is the first thing here. And this was interesting because it's like a fighting game and also a cooking game.
Yeah, that one was interesting. Like that, the Thirsty Suitors looked like, well, it interested me because it's an RPG, but the fighting in that game, like the attacks seem to revolve around like literally like verbal argument.
Yeah, there's everything from dancing and stuff like that. It just looks so strange, and it's like I think they said South Asian or like Indian inspired, so you could see a lot of that there. It's one of those things that's just so bizarre, which this is at the Tribeca Game Spotlight. You know the Tribeca Films Festival, so it's usually film that really grasps these people. Then think of it as like games that personify art. through some form of unique thing, and this is one of those that made it in there. And like I said, we don't have everything on here from it because not all of it interested us, but this was the first one there, and it was interesting with like the Indian roots that we're going with it. And this is actually something that occurs in another game in the same showcase and everything else. But yeah, the fighting style was interesting. The cartoony feeling of it is probably what's the big appeal there too. I don't know if I'll actually fully actually play it. I do want to see more closer to launch, but it is something I probably will wish list, at least for now. And then As Dusk Falls, this was also in multiple showcases, but this one's very interesting because it's like following 3 characters, I want to say, and it's like real world stuff. It takes place, I think, in Arizona, and you're playing like separate families where one is just trying to move his family, I believe, and the other is robbing people, and they have like different backgrounds, and I guess like class, like how class inequality is occurring there, where people they're losing a house and they'll do anything to get it back. But what's interesting about this is the fact that the way they're doing the production is they'll have their actors actually fully captured, but it's almost like kind of still where it phases into the next like motion of the character, so you're not actually seeing them fully move. They're just kind of like
basically take like individual frames of the film, I guess,
yeah,
and just like make paintings out of it.
it's like
and
a
so
frame
it
shift
looks
each time.
very interesting.
Very real.
I don't know if I'm super hot on like the art style, but like definitely the narrative, like interweaving story, and your choices making like actual differences in how it like ends up. Like I'm interested in the story of it. I don't know about the art style, but yeah.
It's one of those things where it looks kind of like an older type of thing that did this before, and I don't remember what it was exactly, but
I think that's what it is. It looks like
it's like a web comic or something. I don't even know, or like web page.
It looks like older like PC like
that's why
point and click games. I think that's why like it literally looks old to me.
But they show that when they show the production behind it all, that's honestly what was making me more and more interested in.
They're definitely putting a hell of a lot of work into it.
Yeah, so that's why I want to play this when it comes out for sure. Then Venba, which was actually a full-on cooking game, and I liked it because it's multiple different people of different backgrounds, and they're like, we're using our roots from it all.
Do you like the parts where they showed recording all the different cooking sounds?
I love that. It honestly made me think more. I was like, oh shit, I didn't think about just fucking recording myself cooking. That's genius.
Let me record me like fiddling around with like a pot top.
Yeah, I'm gonna take my my Sony hand recorder next time and just like eggs. Oh boy, just have it right next to it. But yeah, no, it's just making food, the game, and I think the way they said it was they're not trying to make it a puzzle game or something. I think they said it is a puzzle game the way they want the food to come out instead of it being like a simulator or something like that. So I thought that was interesting, and I just want to know more about that kind of thing, just because the sound interested me, the concept of like how the puzzles will work, and the designs for the food actually looked interesting. So interested in that. A Plague Tale Requiem, which I believe is also at the Xbox showcase, on maybe one other one. I think the PC one too, PC gaming show. But this is a sequel, I think, to A Plague Tale Innocence, and I do want to play these games. They look really good. They look interesting, and it's like about that brother and sister. Brother controls rats, sister has like a crossbow. I don't think there's much else.
Really good things about the first one.
Yeah, there's not much else to say, but it, like I said, I just haven't played the first one yet, and I really do want to get to that eventually. Like that is something I want to check out, and then eventually check this one out too. And it is coming, I believe, day one to Game Pass as well. It's one of those ones. I think everything that was announced there was. So this will be something if you want. I don't know if it'll be PC Game Pass, but at least for sure it'll be Xbox Game Pass day one on release. So there's that. And then Cuphead Delicious Last Course. I still have to play the first one.
Same.
Yeah, so get to that. But I think everyone knows about that, and there's not much to say.
It just looks like they put just the same amount of work as they into the DLC as they did in like the original game. Like so it's a shit ton of work.
From what I heard too, it's apparently harder than the first game or the base game.
Okay.
So I guess if you're glutton for punishment, there you go.
I love that they just called the DLC like the Delicious Last Course, and it took me so long to realize that there's an acronym for DLC.
Yeah. And then there was Immortality. And
yeah, this one I wasn't sure if we wanted to talk about it because it was like it's so interesting and different, and I don't even quite understand it, but like they talked about the history of this actress who shot like 3 movies over the course of like 40 years, and not like a single one of them came out. And so they took like the footage of these old movies and like stitched them together somehow and like made a game out of it, like an investigation game. So like
Yeah.
again, I just want to know more about it, and it seems so interesting.
Yeah, it's just more of, this is one of those this has never been done before games. Like
Mm-hmm.
that's why this is so intriguing, because it's like the first of its kind, and it's not something you might ever see after, because it's not like there's long lost footage of stuff that never was released all the time you can pull
Yeah.
off and make a game out of. So that's really what is the intriguing part. We don't really know much else about it. It's kind of a mystery, but something we want to keep an eye on. Once again, it's called Immortality. And then the last game we saw here was, once again, American Arcadia, and we already talked about that. And on to the last thing, Future Games Show. And I think we're gonna do this. We're gonna pull this shit off, because a couple things here we already talked about. First off is Ludo, which is a potential horror game, and we literally see ghosts under sheets, and they do it in actually a kind of,
Yeah. It actually looks creepy.
yeah, actually they do it in a scary way. What's cool about this too is it looks like it's the 90s or something. I see like the fucking TV with the VHS tapes, and it looks also investigative, so it could be like investigative horror. And I do kind of like those games. It kind of reminds me of was it Gone Home? Was that the game where he plays the girl in the house and no one's there, and you find out your sister was actually, she finds out she's like a lesbian and she ran away from
Oh,
home.
Gone Home.
Yeah, that's what I said. Yeah, so it's Gone Home. I don't think it's gonna be like that, but I do like games like that, because it does throw me for a loop where I think I'm in a fucking murder house, and it's just like, no, I'm just letting you know, I left the house. I just left by so long, and I'm like, oh, okay. And it was, it's very heartfelt. So this is not that, but I do like the investigative stuff of just solving things. So I don't always like it. Like it's one of those once in a while things, and I think this is the next like once in a while time I'm gonna want to do this kind of thing. So I'm looking forward to it. It's called Luto, Luto. And then, we saw Nightingale and American Arcadia again. So we've talked about those already. The Entropy Center. So this game is kind of like, you could tell it's very inspired by Portal,
Oh yeah.
where the Earth is like, looks like a sun at this point. It's like it's about to
Oh,
blow
that
up.
was that game. I totally forgot that was that.
Yeah, and your job is to somehow solve these puzzles Portal style, and when you solve them, it somehow reverses the age of the Earth. So the goal overall is to make the Earth habitable again and no longer a
Yeah.
flaming ball.
So it seems like because your gun seems to be able to kind of rewind time for objects.
Yeah,
So I'm guessing you're trying to do that for the Earth.
yeah, and I guess solving the puzzles does like a bigger time thing for the Earth itself. And it's gonna be cool just kind of seeing that kind of thing play out. I don't know if I'll eventually if I'll fully do that, just because I don't think I really was into the Portal games. I would have to go back and
Oh,
play them
I
again.
loved those games.
Oh
So
yeah,
I'm
no, the Portal
super into
games.
these.
I know
Or it's
everyone
into this
like
one.
Portal was very popular with just the masses, so I totally understand it. But yeah, it was very interesting concept they were doing for this. Next up, we've got Bright Memory Infinite. I don't remember what this was.
Yeah, the name sounds so familiar. You even looked it up beforehand, and I was like, well, I don't know.
Hang on, I'm gonna look it up one more time. I'm looking that up. The Last Faith was another game I saw, and that game
Yeah.
was actually really interesting. So it's like it looks Metroidvania style. It looks like retro, pixely, and it kind of reminds me of Castlevania in just style of like it looks like you're fighting all these demons and shit. You've got both, I think, guns and melee weapons, and it's just like one of those Metroidvania style games where you're going through. And I honestly thought it looked really fucking interesting. Like, there's a lot of, I guess you could say, Metroidvania clones around there, or like games of that style. It's not clones, I guess it's just like of that genre. And the last one that really made me want to play one was, I think, Axiom Verge, I want to say.
Mm.
And this, I think, comes into that area of like, oh, this looks cool enough that I'd want to do that kind of thing. I totally forgot what I was talking about. I just forgot to type in Bright Memory Infinite. That was oh, right. Okay. So Bright Memory Infinite was a game where you play as this woman who is fighting people in first person using swords, guns, and also like some either magic or techno power of like straight up using the force, where you can like have a guy get flown over to you, and then you just kind of like move your hand like that, and he just kind of like gets crushed or his neck breaks or something, and you're like, get out of my way. But it looks super. It just looks like a crazy first-person action shooter game. But you can also stab people. You could throw it. You could literally throw a sword, and it kind of does like a boomerang thing. Goes to kill a guy while you're waiting for it to come back. You're shooting someone with a gun, and then your sword comes back. Like, it just looks like combat-wise really interesting, and the fact that you're kind of more or less rotating or multi-use with fucking guns, swords, and magic or whatever it is, like, is actually really appealing to me. I don't know if the story is going to be interesting. It looks kind of like one of those generic type stories potentially. But it's, yeah, like I said, if it's the gameplay is cool enough, then I'm totally down for it.
Yeah.
And then two things left. One, Pal World.
Yeah, dude, this trailer was so funny to me because the whole time I was like, yo, is this just Pokemon with guns though?
It was super fucking, it's straight up, it's just Pokemon with guns. Like,
Yeah.
you see all these Pokemon, they look exactly like Pokemon, and then all of a sudden a fucking gun comes out. Like, it'll be like, oh, look, a Lapras fucking has two like shoulder machine guns on it. There's like little cute little puffin type guys. They're like, we have fucking guns. And I'm like,
It's so funny.
what is going on? And you could even like catch them with Pokeball style things.
Yeah, literally.
It is probably, honestly, of all the games, was so just outrageous that it's probably one of the top games of the week that I saw, just of how just ridiculous they just said, fuck it, do Pokemon with guns, and like, we could make a game like that. It looks so fun. It looks so stupid, but it looks so fucking fun. Oh my god, I can imagine how many sales this is going to get just from Pokemon fans alone.
Oh yeah.
And or people that went, I don't even like Pokemon, but I like, if I can shoot Pokemon, like, yo, let me do this.
Like, I like Pokemon. I don't have a Switch though. Oh wait, it's coming to PC and other stuff, and it's got guns.
Yeah, fucking Pal World. I could not believe it. Like I said, Jesus Christ. And then last, certainly not least, is Ill, which reminded me a bit of like Dead Space and Callisto Protocol, where we don't really know anything, but it looks like more, I'm not sure what era. I just see like a revolver that your character has, and then fucking disfigured mutant person thing that gets up and is like, blah, 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 and like crawls away, and you're just like,
it looks super creepy and weird.
Yeah, it was just such a short teaser that we didn't really get anything else from it. It was just like,
yeah, I couldn't even find it on Steam either.
Wait, really?
Yeah.
Huh. That's interesting. I mean, it's such a, I realized how hard it would be to even find it, and the fact that I'm like,
right, it's literally just called Ill.
Yeah, and if if you're uppercasing the I, then you just have a 3. You just have 3, and you're just like, I don't remember what this was. So I made sure to lowercase the I to remember exactly what I was looking at, to not confuse myself later on. But yeah, so that's everything we wanted to cover. I'm for sure wishlisting a lot of stuff here. Look forward to 153 part 2. Once again, we are covering the Xbox Bethesda showcase, the extended Xbox Bethesda showcase they're doing after. That's an hour and a half more. The fuck, I don't know what it is. We're gonna cover the PC gaming show, the Capcom showcase, and potentially Guerrilla Collective 3.5. So a lot less stuff in terms of numbers of showcases, but these ones, at least the Xbox one, is pretty fucking big. I think it'll, for sure, in terms of talking about all this stuff, it'll be shorter than this round. The difference, though, will be that we'll be also, sorry, I just like kind of redundant there. We'll be talking about how the Xbox conference was in and of itself, just kind of like the style we would do back when it was E3 style and all the main big publishers, just because there's not much to say about these other showcases, but specifically that one we can kind of grade. Maybe the Capcom one too, but we'll say which showcase was our favorite. And I think, James, if you want, we could do, just out of all the games we saw, our top 5 games that we liked the most. I think
after everything's all done.
Yeah, in the same episode for part 2.
Okay.
We could just run through that as well. But yeah, we'll have all that. And then yeah, that is it. Once again, subscribe on all platforms that you listen on. If it's Apple Podcast, please give us 5 stars. Spotify, please rate us. If it's YouTube, like and subscribe, all that stuff. Please comment, send us feedback, or give us questions you want us to answer at sutrosidetalk@gmail.com. We always enjoy answering anything on the show. If one of you eventually will do it. And then 50 episodes in, still nothing. Except for that one Sonic question.
We got the one.
Yeah, fucking Ethan. And then you can follow James on Twitter at InvaderJim124. You can follow me on Twitter at GoGoComzilla. And you can follow the show on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok at Sutro Sidetalk. I know I've been really fucking behind on this shit, but I will have the TikTok content rolling out. I don't know if it'll be this month. Tip top. It might be July. I'm not sure because, like I said, I'll be out of town for like 2 weeks for the rest of this month. So I'll be home for like 6 days, I think, at a certain point, and maybe I can do it in that span. I don't really know. We'll see. I just have to do extra video editing to get those 1-minute clips or 30-second clips that I'll throw on TikTok and YouTube and Instagram and whatnot. But yeah, we'll catch you guys for part 2. Until next time, though, have a great week.
Thanks for listening.